Ryan is going through some very interesting changes, from things like this.
I'm coming to get my respect. I'm just gonna go in there and literally shut the critics up, silence them. A lot of people talk a lot of stuff about me and say that I don't really have skills and whatnot.
To as of recently looking like this now.
Because the truth is stranger than nonfiction. So, because I have the information on the leaks and I can expose them, everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I can show you proof every day.
So what's going on with Ryan Garcia? Well, for that, I have to take you guys back just a little bit to when he started his boxing career. Ryan used to be a grounded boxer who was focused on winning fights and staying undefeated. See, when Ryan was starting out, he wanted to focus on his social media and build up his following, and he was known as one of the new age social media boxers. He would post training videos like these on his Instagram. And again, his primary concern was just to build up his following, which would help him get noticed by bigger promotions and allow him to put on bigger fights and ideally end up making more money. And quite honestly, he did very good at this, as he now has over 10 million followers on Instagram. He's also been on tons of podcasts like ImPaulsive. Ryan has also grown a pretty large YouTube channel as well. But it's not just the social media side that has grown, it's also his boxing skill, as he's been quite good in the boxing ring. But obviously there was a big change with Ryan's behavior as of recently. So what might have changed to make Ryan begin to spiral in the first place with potentially substance abuse? Well, there's a few reasons, but I think Ryan was really focused on being an undefeated boxer. And in April 2023, Ryan was set to fight Gervonta Davis, another undefeated boxer. And these two undefeated prospects were bound to end up clashing at some point. This was a huge moment for both fighters, as they were undefeated prodigies looking to have a super fight, which was exactly what was going to happen. However, the fight ended in disaster for Ryan, as he took a nasty body shot that put him down. Now, this is a very interesting shot, as it's a little hard to understand if you've never taken a body shot before. But what happens is Tank hits him with a left hook to the liver, and Ryan eats the shot for a second and tries to back away. But I guarantee he feels his body shutting down. So as a very high IQ boxer, he ends up trying to just take a knee, hoping that that will give him enough time to recover. However, 10 seconds just wasn't enough time, and that's how the fight ended. Now, I can only imagine being 24 years old in a position like that, where millions of people are watching you lose. So after that devastating loss, Ryan went on to Twitter to have a chat with Andrew Tate, and he seemed to be very disturbed. In this talk, he's basically going on about the higher elites, as some know, the Illuminati. This is a somewhat of a secret society, and there's a lot of speculation around, does it even exist? Is it real or not? And we're not going to really get into that. You have your own beliefs. The whole interview was barely 5 minutes long, and you can tell Ryan seems not like himself. He seems extremely frustrated and upset, talking about how he wants to expose these people, and all of the proof he has is on his phone, but he doesn't want to get into too much detail about it. It really just is not a good look.
You have proof of these things? You have proof of this on your phone?
Yes, of course I do. The fuck you talking about? Of course. If Alex could get a fucking video from the Bohemian Grove, of course I could.
And for those of you who don't understand what Bohemian Grove is, it's basically a place in the United States, California, belonging to a private gentleman's club known as the Bohemian Club. In mid-July each year, Bohemian Grove hosts a more than 2-week encampment of some of the most prominent men in the world. Ryan continues to explain in the interview that he has had some very, very strange things happen to him. Now, Ryan Garcia is not the only one that's talked about Bohemian Grove. There's a lot of different stories and tales about this Bohemian Grove and all of the strange things that possibly happen. Again, when you have a club of very influential men all over the world that get together in one spot for 2 weeks, I'm sure some crazy things happen. For example, this video where, again, you're not supposed to have your camera out, but somebody's filming some sort of strange ceremony, clip, whatever you want to call it.
The owl is in his leafy temple. Let all within the grove be reverent before him.
So yeah, as you guys can see from that, it's definitely a strange place, so who knows really what's going on there. Andrew then continues the interview where he tells Ryan to be careful with what he's saying because it could get him in trouble, and then Andrew Tate says that he needs to be careful as well. Ryan says, "Do you want me to get you out of it?"
Well, I have to be careful what I say because I'm in the middle of a judicial process right now.
You want me to get you out of it? I can help
Well,
you.
bro, my door gets kicked in if I say what I'm thinking.
Now, if we dissect this specific part of the clip, I think it gives us a good insight onto where Ryan is at. Number one, Ryan Garcia is now 25 years old, so he's clearly not going to be able to help Andrew Tate out with any legal trouble unless it's financially helping him pay for lawyers. And number two, Ryan has been in the boxing world for quite some time, and I think most people know that when you say things on the internet, you need to be very careful about what you say because it could negatively impact your career. And he's done a very good job of keeping his career well maintained up until the last couple of weeks, where he just is saying consistent things that probably are not going to help out your career much. Also, throughout this entire interview, he seems to be slurring his words.
2 years old, they raped me. I have proof of that too. That's where it all started, bro.
Which is a good indication that Ryan is under the influence of something. More than likely it's just alcohol, but a lot of people are saying it could be things like cocaine. Even Andrew Tate at the end of this interview acknowledges that it's probably a good idea that they should end this interview because he's maybe not in the right mindset, and this is a conversation that shouldn't be online.
He says he has proof of these things. He says he can tell it in a very coherent manner. So I think the best thing and most prudent thing for me to do as a professional would be for me to continue this conversation with Ryan in private, build a backup in case he ends up in a cell or dead. And if he doesn't, and he's in the middle of some kind of episode, then I'm going to pray for him and do my absolute best to get him better because he's a very talented young man, very hard worker.
Now, in a positive light, some of the comments on this interview were pretty supportive. For example, I hope he gets professional help soon and surrounds himself with more grounded and genuine people. Or even, this is so sad to see, man. Ryan is a phenomenal boxer. Where are the people that love him right now? I hope he figures things out. Praying for him. But pretty much everybody has been able to see in some facet that Ryan is changing. There's something going on with him. His attitude, the way he acts, the way he looks, things just aren't adding up. And comments like these are very common. If cocaine and alcohol had a voice, drugs and alcohol equal this shit. The Andrew Tate podcast wasn't the only problem. Ryan's social media had been filled with some very questionable videos. This proves even further that he's having some sort of breakdown, whether it's exclusively drugs or maybe some mental issues that he's trying to resolve. For example, from Ryan and Logan Paul's relationship, which existed for years, of Ryan going on to the ImPaulsive podcast, them being boys, going to parties together after their fights, and even online as they would publicly support each other, to as of now, where he is completely bashing him and his product Prime.
They will see we're working for Satan, whether they know it or not. So fuck all three of them. Fuck you, Logan. Fuck you, Mike. And I don't give a fuck of what your real name is. KSI, KS Lies, fuck you. Prime is the worst shit ever created. It's gonna kill your guys' brains, mess up your guys' liver. It's the most disgusting. How the hell they have no sugar, but it tastes sweet as fuck? That makes no damn sense. And I used to like Logan and everybody. I thought they were cool. But now, nah, I don't care about you, because you don't care about me. Prime right now said, fuck you, devil worshiper. Everybody go out Prime everywhere. Out Prime, out Prime, out Prime. And anybody posts about Prime, it's out Prime.
So how did Prime respond to this? Well, it's quite funny, actually. And I promise we'll come back to this photo in just a second, but remember the face. We also have maybe the strangest video I've ever personally seen, which is his 3 Little Birds video. I'll just leave it at that. You guys can take a look. I honestly, truly can't tell if Ryan is trolling or if there is some very strong issues happening, or maybe he's just really trying to become a singer, maybe? I don't know. So obviously Ryan's going through a lot of very difficult things. We can also see a clip with him and Bobby Altov where he talks about how he got robbed, and although he makes light of the situation, it still seems pretty mentally awful.
You got robbed today.
Oh, I did.
That was pretty
8 a.m. in the
crazy.
morning. So somebody said, top of the morning, let's go rob him. Yo,
Do you know
somebody's
that?
drinking a coffee, right? And the first stop, they go, let's go rob him. That's crazy.
What did he take?
A $54,000 watch.
That's it?
And a purse.
What else?
Not my purse. Just make that clear. Some other stuff. They did take the Casa Azul though, hey.
The what?
Casa Azul, you don't know what that is? It's called, it's a drink.
Should I know what that is? Is it like...
And if that wasn't enough as a 25-year-old kid to be dealing with, Ryan also seems to be struggling with his promotional company, Golden Boy. This was because they got into a legal battle. And according to ESPN, Garcia argued his contract with Oscar De La Hoya. Promotion stipulates that any disagreement be mediated before filing a lawsuit. However, Golden Boy filed a lawsuit against Garcia on June 16th to enforce its contract with the boxer. The suit was a response for a demand letter from Garcia's legal team on July 9th alleging violations of the promotional agreement. The letter called for mediation proceedings to begin. Rather than stand by their boxer, Golden Boy took to social media to disparage Ryan. Ryan also decided to publicly call out Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins at the press conference before his fight with Oscar Duarte. In the clip, he sheds just a little bit of light on how he feels about the way they are managing him.
Statements that Bernard made, where he'll decide if I'm gonna finish or if I should continue boxing after this fight. He don't decide that, you know.
Bernard stated that if it was him, he didn't say, well, this is what Ryan should do. So when you're dealing with kids, it's really hard to get across that message. And you know, then you have Ryan saying this and that. So it's all.
So now let's go back to that photo I showed you guys a little while ago, and guess who? Devin Haney. Also, who's getting ready to have a boxing match with Ryan Garcia on April 20th? Devin Haney. So that is a very, very tough look for Ryan Garcia. Anyway, obviously we've named quite a few reasons that Ryan might be struggling with his mental, but something we have yet to mention is Devin Haney, who is the champ at 140 pounds and is a very good fighter. And like I mentioned, Ryan and Haney are set to fight on April 20th. And Ryan might feel a bit overwhelmed or even potentially nervous fighting Devin Haney. Obviously, again, for the fear of losing, as he's just taken a big loss in his career. In one of the press conferences for this fight, Eddie with DAZN said this about Haney.
And these are two great fighters, but this man to my right, I think he might be unbeatable. I think he might be one of the best pound for pound fighters in the sport. And when you're as dedicated to the sport as he is, and when you do things right.
That's a crazy statement.
You don't like that?
No, that was the worst statement. Dude, anybody's beatable. That's cap.
Obviously, Ryan seemed to hate this, but it also seems like Ryan has been very short-tempered with this fight specifically and feeling incredibly frustrated. Almost seems like he just wants the whole thing to be over. But I guess on the same note, he also does seem motivated through some of the struggles that he's been dealing with. I guess we'll see how it all unfolds April 20th.